One of the biggest challenges that Halloween 2018 faces is having to explain what Michael Myers has been doing prior 40 years after the events of Halloween 2, as similar events have took place before in Halloween H2O, with the directors and producers having to leave out as to what Michael had been doing 20 years following the first movie, and now having to jump 40 years ahead with Jamie Lee Curtis returning as Laurie Strode. The question lingers as to how exactly the studio and the writers are going to portray Michael Myers in everything that he had been doing 40 years after the incident following Halloween 1 and 2. So the challenge in which Halloween 2018 faces is explaining what Michael had been doing for 40 years, where exactly he had been located, and what the motives are for Michael to once again return 40 years later and pursuing and trying to kill Laurie Strode's character. That's only assuming if they're going to go down the path of explaining their origins and them having to be related, or if the rumor is true in the overall direction of the film having to shift focus as the two are not going to be related. And although I do believe that Laurie Strode and Michael are going to be relatable in this film, the biggest question is how exactly are they going to tie everything together with Laurie Strode and Michael Myers and everything they've been doing 40 years later. But even with the premise of Michael Myers having to be away for nearly 40 years, the question lingers as to what triggers Michael in pursuit and chasing down and hunting down his sister Laurie Strode. That's of course if they decide to link Laurie and Michael together as relatives, brother and sister. I think in my opinion, having to go down the route of H2O, they ought to explain where Michael's whereabouts was following the second film, and if in fact they want to consider having him be mortal, because that is a heavy rumor going into the next Halloween film that Michael Myers may in fact actually be mortal instead of immortal as we saw in the previous films, as this film is going to completely disregard the sequels following the second film, as this is going to be the official Halloween 3 in conjunction to Halloween 1 and 2 from 1978. And since then, what has Laurie been up to? What has Michael been up to? Are they going to be in the same state, in the same town? Or in fact, are things going to be much different than how we saw previous, as I do believe the overall premise to this should remain in Haddonfield, as I do think the conclusion of the film may in fact either be A, Michael killing Laurie, or Laurie finally being able to kill Michael. So post your comments down below, guys. What are your overall thoughts on the time gap and how you think it should be explained? Should Michael have some sort of a backstory as to what he's been doing, where he's been hiding, and how his condition is following this film? Or in fact, should we just have Michael pop out of nowhere the minute Laurie makes her presence known and Michael trying to attempt to kill her? Should one of them die in the film? What are your overall thoughts going into the upcoming Halloween film? Thank you all so very much for watching. If you guys are excited and stoked for the upcoming Halloween film, go on ahead and slap a like down below. If you guys are new to this channel and love Halloween, consider hitting that subscribe button, guys, and turning on notifications. That way you guys can be notified whenever a Halloween film is posted onto this channel in conjunction to news, information, and updates. Hashtag notification squad, as of course this is going to be possibly the final Halloween film we get, depending on the box office, depending on the story, and it's essentially up to us, the fans, to keep the franchise alive instead of ruining the franchise and making unnecessary changes and additional things added onto the film, as I do have hope for this film. And of course, if you yourselves are a hardcore Halloween fan, you ought to consider trying to spread the word on this channel and this video to try to gain as much notoriety and popularity for this as possible, because as a community, I feel like we can come together and voice our opinions in having a positive change onto this film, as it is going to be John Carpenter and company instead of Rob Zombie, in which I do favor John Carpenter's vision more than Rob Zombie's. So post your comments down below. Halloween 2018, it promises to be gory, it promises to be the conclusion between Laurie Strode and Michael's confrontation. However that goes, if you guys believe one of them may die, post your comments down below, guys. Thank you all so very much for watching, and I'll be seeing you all down in the comment section below. Have a great day, everybody. Peace.